The Torah begins, this week's portion begins, Vayikra. He, doesn't say who called, we know it's the Creator, but Vayikra el Moshe. He called to Moshe. And Rashi brings down, it says, what is this call to Moshe? Right, the end of last week's portion was the creation of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle. And this week's portion begins with the words, he called to Moshe. What is this? How did this happen? How did this call go out? So Rashi says, Hakol holech umagia leoznav, v'chol Yisrael lo shom'in. The voice came to Moshe, but nobody else heard him. So again, Moshe is standing there, sitting with hundreds of people possibly around him, and he hears this call, right? The Creator saying, "Come, Moshe," and nobody hears him. And Rashi makes it clear. What kind of voice was it? Right? Was it like a whisper, like nobody else can hear? Just Moshe heard. Yachol mipnei she'akol namuch. Was it a low voice? It says, Hu akol hameforash b'Tehillim, as it says, Kol Hashem b'koach. This calling was a strong call, a strong voice from the Creator. Kol Hashem behadar. It was a beautiful voice. Kol Hashem shover harazim. It was a voice that can break down trees. Meaning it was a very, very loud voice. So, Moshe, can you imagine? He was frightened from this voice when he heard it, because it was a tremendously loud voice. But still, nobody around him heard it. Nobody around him heard it. And when I read this this week, I realized, and this is an important understanding we have to share with our students, share with ourselves. The Rabbah would often speak about the fact that we're in the Zman Yamot HaMashiach, we're in the time of the B'ezrat Hashem Gmar HaTikun, and the Zohar makes it very clear that this is the time when there's going to be a greater possibility in revelation of the Oyen Ashrei, meaning there has to be the potential for great darkness as much as there is a potential for great light. But what's beautiful about this Shabbat, and one of the great gifts of the Shabbat, is to really strengthen our consciousness. I remember, again, a few days ago, I was sitting with one of our students, and he was telling me, if you talk to anybody who's in business nowadays, it's a difficult time. And I remember the Rav always saying this in different times, but also obviously an idea we have to remember this time as well, that we have to have clarity that just because everybody around us does not see the light, everyone around us sees difficulty, we can be like Moshe, that one person in the crowd of thousands who hears not only the voice, meaning has that revelation, not only a little revelation, but the greatest revelation. At the time when nobody around Moshe, nobody around us hears the voice at all, we can be the ones, and our students can be the ones who hear not just a little bit of revelation, but the greatest revelation. Because nobody else heard the voice, because nobody heard this calling, this connection to light that is revealed in the Shabbat, therefore Moshe heard it. Vayikra el Moshe, because it was called to Moshe, and nobody else around him heard it, therefore we're stronger for him. And so when I was talking to the student, he was telling me about the difficulty now, and I said to him again, and the Rabbah would always say this, is that these are the times that if a person truly awakens a consciousness, and again, consciousness is not easy to awaken or maintain, but we should remember that if we truly make that connection to the light of the Creator, we can be the one in 1,000. Where the light, that voice comes strong, comes complete, even though all around us see the darkness. And that's, again, one of the great gifts of the Shabbat, to really strengthen that message, strengthen that understanding that I can be the Vayikra el Moshe. I can be the one that nobody around me sees it, but I see it, I connect it, I receive it. The Baal HaTurim, in talking about the first word on this parasha, brings a very interesting story, a nice story even by and within itself. We know the Aleph of Vayikra is small. Why is the Aleph small? He says, Moshe haya gadol ve'anav. Moshe was, we know, the only way to connect to this calling, this strong connection to the light of the Creator, even when nobody else sees it, even when nobody else hears it. And because again, so many times, especially nowadays, you sit with people and they're saying, this can be that difficulty, this difficulty. Well, if that's what you're talking about, if that's what you're connecting to, that's what you're going to have. If, on the other hand, we strengthen the clarity of, no, I can be a Vayikra el Moshe. I can be the one who hears it. That's what we draw. And therefore it's so dangerous. It's so dangerous to take in this discussion of difficulty. Because if that's where we go, if that's what we talk about, if that's what we hear, that's what we'll be. Our consciousness is what's going to make that difference. Moshe, the only way to really connect to this 1 in 1,000 revelation is by being somebody who is constantly diminishing our ego. And this was Moshe. Moshe was somebody who every day of his life was finding new ways and better ways to diminish his ego. And therefore, the Creator comes to Moshe and he says, look, you need to write the word Vayikra. You need to let everybody know how connected you are to me, how strong our connection is. And Moshe said, לא רצה לכתוב אלא ויקר, לשון מקרה. Moshe says to the Creator, can I write something different? Although I know you want me to write the word Vayikra, which represents this amazing connection that me and you have, but I would rather nobody know about it. So maybe I can write, instead of Vayikra, meaning representing the fact that you call me and we have this strong connection, 1 in a million connection, let me write the word Vayikar without the Aleph, which represents a word of almost like a coincidence, meaning sometimes we talk, sometimes we're connected. It says, for instance, about Bil'am, we know that Bil'am did not have a constant connection to the Creator, and it says concerning Bil'am that his connection was on the level of Vayikar, that sometimes the light was connected to him, sometimes he received messages. So Moshe begs the Creator, says, please, instead of writing Vayikra, instead of representing, showing, revealing to the world the strong connection that me and you have, let me write the word Vayikar, which will say that, yes, sometimes we connect, but it's not that strong of a connection. As if the Creator only speaks to him in a dream, as it says about Bilam, as if the light of the Creator is only revealed to him coincidentally. And the Creator says, no, I'm not letting you write the word Vayikar, you have to write the Aleph too. אמר לו משה, מחמת רוב ענווה שלא יכתבנה אלא קטנה, יותר משאר אלפין שבתורה וכתבה קטנה. So Moshe says, okay, if you want me to write the Aleph, which represents the true connection and love and light that we have, let me at least write it small, so that it somehow diminishes from the importance of from the revelation of our connection. And it's almost like, it's like a joke, but if you look really from far away, you'll only see Vayikar, and if you're looking closer, you'll see Vayikra. First of all, we learn from here the fact that the only way, what is this whole back and forth between Moshe? Was it just a game between Moshe and the Creator about whether he'll write that letter or not, whether everybody else will know who he is? But this is everything. To the degree that we try to diminish what others see of our light, what others see of our connection, to that degree, to that exact degree, we merit this connection. To the degree, again, there's levels to this, right? I mean, we're talking about finding ways to hide our connection. Unfortunately, too many of us are not only not hiding, but we're actually sort of, instead of making, if it was us, we'd say, let's make the Aleph really, really big, one of those large letters in the Torah. But what Moshe is revealing to us is that the only way to have this connection, a constant connection to the light of the Creator, is if we're fighting. No, I don't want, if anybody knows anything about my connection, let it be really small. If for whatever reason it has to be a little bit revealed, let it be even smaller. And he merited, right? He won a little battle. That the Aleph, instead of being the regular size, is small. What does that mean? That when the Israelites, imagine what's happening now. We know all the trouble that the Israelites gave to Moses in the desert. If we're not talking about letters here, we're talking about revelation. And the Creator is now telling Moshe, I want something to change. I want the Israelites to really know who you are. I want them to stop judging you, to stop making trouble for you. I want them to know really how close we are. Because the reason why the Israelites kept judging Moshe is because they doubted his connection to the Creator. And the Creator says, enough. I want them to know that me and you, Vayikra and Moshe, we are constantly connected. Moshe, it would have made his job much easier. And can you imagine how strong the ego was saying, look Moshe, not for you. I know you don't care about what people think about you, what they know. But if you're the leader, they have to have an understanding of who you are. They can't continue doubting you. You won't be able to do your job as the leader. People have to know who you are. And Moshe said, no way. There is no way, even though I'm the leader and you're right, it's going to make some trouble for me if not everybody knows how connected I am to the light of the Creator. I am not going to let that to be revealed. When it says Vayikra with a small aleph, it means at this point in the desert, the Creator wanted everybody to have clarity about Moshe, and Moshe made it so that not everybody had clarity. Yes, a little bit more than Vayikra. If it would have been written Vayikra and Moshe, then probably 90% of the people would have doubts about Moshe. And when it says Vayikra with a small aleph, which means that the consciousness was elevated to the point where only 60% of the people had doubts about Moshe. But he fought for it. And he fought for it even when there was all the logic in the world why everybody should know. And this again is a tremendous revelation. Moshe is telling us, the smaller our aleph, meaning the smaller our level is revealed to others, the stronger our Vayikra is, the stronger our constant connection and to the light of the Creator is. The greater our aleph is, the greater the ani is, the greater my light level is revealed to the world, the more diminished my Vayikra is. You cannot have both. You cannot be truly connected and have that revealed to the world. Impossible. Impossible. And when you understand it like this isn't just some game between the Creator and Moshe, but how you're going to write a word. What's going on here is how much of his level is going to be revealed to the world. And Moshe fought and fought and fought with the Creator. Because he knew that if his light would be revealed, if everybody knew truly who Moshe was, he'd be disconnected to some degree from the light of the Creator. It's an amazing, amazing lesson. We know that the word Vayikra, which is the first four letters, represents coincidence, and Vayikra represents clarity. No coincidence. The Shem Shmuel has a very important and beautiful explanation. It says in the Talmud in Chulin, Adamu behema toshia Hashem. It says on the verse that the Creator rescues, helps, gives light to man and animal. So if you read the literal verse, it means that the Creator helps people and He also helps animal. But the Talmud says no. Elu bnei adam shem arumim b'da'atam umesimim atzmam kebehema. This is talking about people who are smart, people who do understand, but nevertheless somehow diminish their understanding, somehow push down their understanding to the level of animal. What does this mean? He says, when a person diminishes his understanding, his question, his knowledge to the knowledge of the Creator, corresponding to that, to the diminishment of one's understanding, to that level he gets wisdom and light from above. And I want to make this very clear, so we'll use examples. How we see our lives, right, the Zohar says, how we see our lives is exactly how our lives are going to be. So, most of us are involved in spiritual work, most of us are involved in the study, so we know that big things come from the Creator. Life-changing things, really important things in our lives, probably most of us have an understanding they're from the Creator. But what about the little things? This morning I woke up and I wanted to take a shower and somebody else was in the shower, he upset me. Is that a Vayikra? Is that a coincidence? Or is that from the Creator? Every day, probably 30 things happen that annoy us, that upset us, that bother us, some of them bigger, some of them smaller. How do we see those? And how we see them determines how the light of the Creator will act in our lives. If in every single little thing that happens in my life I understand that it is the light of the Creator, I bring the light of the Creator further into my life. This is so important. If throughout the day 15 things happen and I saw the small things as being coincidental and the important things as being from the Creator, I've now pushed the Creator out a certain percentage from my life. Conversely, if today I saw all those 15 things in my consciousness as coming directly from the Creator, I've drawn the Creator more into my life. How we see those little things, those what we would usually view as coincidences in our lives, either pushes out or draws in the light of the Creator into our life. How we see these little things is how we push or pull the light of the Creator into our life. And how do we know how we're seeing them? Very simple. Again, somebody does something, let's use small examples. Again, I hear somebody said something negative about me. What's my reaction? If I'm angry or sad or disappointed or slightly depressed, what am I saying? It's a coincidence. He decided to do it. It's not from the Creator, and therefore it upsets me. Conversely, if I stop myself and I say, no, I know this is from the Creator, and if it's from the Creator, it's for my best, and I mevatel da'ati, I push my own thoughts away, then I bring the light of the Creator into my life. We're talking about instances especially when my logic dictates the opposite. He just did something that's very upsetting to me. She just did something that's very hurtful to me. If I ever, and we all do, but if I ever, and every time that is my reaction, I'm pushing the light of the Creator a little bit further out of my life. And if it happens 10 times a day, so I push the light of the Creator 1, 2, 3, 4, 10 degrees out of my life. Conversely, if I start being mevatel da'ati, if I start pushing aside my logic, my understanding of why this is bad for me or hurtful for me, and I say, no, I'm not even going to think because logic doesn't work here, but I know that this is not a coincidence, it is from the Creator, it is for my best, and I push it aside. I bring the light of the Creator 1 more degree into my life. And if I do it 10 times a day, I bring the light of the Creator 1 more degree, another degree back into my life. So that's one understanding. It's a very important one because we all fall to this every day, 15, 20, 30 times. So the basic understanding is that how I see these things and how I react to them shows where my consciousness is. And that decision of how I see it, not just how I understand it again, because we're talking about specifically things I don't understand. Right? This person just went over to my best friend and said that I stole $100 from them. Right? And there's no good in that, right? He's not going to like me. He obviously doesn't like me, and I'm going to be viewed negatively. So there's no logic that I can possibly put in my mind why this is good for me. But I am, right? Adam ubehemat Hashem. I take down my human logic. And like an animal, I'm simple about it. I push aside, as he says, mevatel da'ati, I push aside my thought, and I know that it is not a coincidence, and I know it is for my best. When that happens, first thing, I draw the light of the Creator further into my life, because I don't see coincidences anymore. Number one. But the second thing, and this is why it's so beautiful, he says, you get at least 3 gifts when you do this. One, you gain more understanding from the Creator. He gives you more ability to understand. When you diminish your thought, the Creator says, okay, I'll give you some more of my thoughts. I'll give you some more of my clarity. That's the first level of blessings. And when you merit to receive more of that, the Creator's thoughts, more of the Creator's light, then you are assisted in all matters. You are assisted in all matters. Think about this. Next time somebody does something that is hurtful or upsetting, and you diminish your logic, push it aside, you now first receive, we said, bring the light of the Creator further into your life because you don't see coincidence. Second, you receive more wisdom, more understanding from the Creator because you've said, I am diminishing my thought process, my logic. Third, Nosha bechol ha'inyanim. You receive all kinds of abundance and blessings and assistance from the Creator. And it goes further. He says, "Yesh le'asber advarim de'ineh noda shedat hi'tkashrut." Right, where we think, how we think, is where we're connected to. ומאחר שהאדם מבטל דעתו ומשליך ממנו את כל ההתקשרות שיש לו לעולם הזה והבליו, when I diminish, push aside all the logic of my understanding of why things are happening and how they affect me, ומשים את עצמו כבהמה, and I put myself on the level of an animal, meaning I don't understand, but not in a negative way, but I know that I don't have clarity, I know that I don't understand. להיות נכנע לרצון השם יתברך, and I know that whatever is happening is from the Creator, and it is for my best, and I surrender to that. לעומת זה נקשרה נשמתו בשורשה. That thought process, that change, binds my soul to its source, binds my soul stronger to the Creator. ממילא הוא מושך משורש נשמתו כל מיני השפעות. And therefore I merit that I draw from my soul, from its source, from the Creator, all kinds of abundance. כי שורש נשמתו דבוק במקור החיים. Because the source of my soul is connected to the source of all things, to the Creator. If you really understand this, this changes everything about the little reactions throughout our day. Because what he's explaining is that every time somebody does something big or small that upsets me, that disappoints me, that angers me, that saddens me, and I say at that moment, Adamu be'emato she'Hashem, I'm pushing out my human understanding of why this is bad for me or why this should upset me. I push aside logic and I say, no, I don't understand exactly how, but this is from the Creator, this is for my best, and I don't react to it in any negative way. As a matter of fact, I'm happy because I know this is for my best. I now elevate my soul to a stronger connection to the light of the Creator. Imagine these opportunities that we have every day of our lives, 10, 20, 30 times. And let me just repeat again, the 4 gifts that you get. And of course, conversely, when we fall to that reaction, it's the opposite. But we bring the light of the Creator stronger into our life. 1. 2, we receive more wisdom, more understanding from the light of the Creator. Because what we're saying to the Creator is, I don't want my thought, I want your thoughts. 3, nosha bechol ha'inyanim, I draw all kinds of things beyond what I can merit. I receive all kinds of assistance and blessings beyond what I can merit. 4, I bind my soul higher, stronger to its source, and therefore to the Creator. And therefore, as he says, my soul becomes stronger, connected, davuk b'makor ha'chaim. Moshech kol minei hashpaot. I draw all kinds of abundance. Can you imagine these opportunities we have every day, and we fall 90% of the time? One of the great gifts of this Shabbat, and this is such, if we understand it, and I hope it's clear, but if we understand this, first of all, is exciting, just as an understanding. Second, what it can do in our lives. This can change every day to a great and greater degree our bond to the light of the Creator, and therefore the blessings and the understanding that comes to us. It's an amazing revelation. The third thing I want to share, and again, as would happen in the Hebrew Limud, we're going to be cut off a little bit, but I am most excited about this third one. It says in the Midrash, in the beginning of this week's portion, it says Vayikra el Moshe. Right, this week's portion begins. The Creator calls to Moshe. Ma katuv lemala me'inyan. The Midrash says what is written previously, meaning at the end of Pekudei, the previous portion, in the previous book. Ka'asher tziva Hashem et Moshe, that Moshe built the Mishkan, built the tabernacle, as the Creator commanded him. Mashal lemelech shetziva et avdo. So the Midrash, to explain the first words in this week's portion, brings a parable. Compares it to a king who commands his servant to build a palace for him. Ve'amar lo bnei li paltin, and he says to him, build for me a palace, a beautiful place. Al kol davar ve'davar shahaya boneh. Everything that he built, every brick he put on the wall, every table he built, every chair that he built, he wrote on it, hayakotev alav shmo shel melech. He would write the name of the king. Whatever the name of the king was, he would write the name of the king. He builds the whole house, he builds all the furniture. Liyamin nichnas hamelech. Eventually the king comes in. Amar, and he said, Kol hakavod hazeh asa li avdi. my servant created this beautiful palace for me. He built all this beautiful furniture. V'humi bachutz, and I'm sitting inside now, and he's outside. K'ru lo she'yikanes lifnai v'lifnim. Call him and have him come be with me in the most internal rooms, meaning let him come and be very close with me. Kach, so too, haya kotev alav kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe. Moshe, as he was building everything, as he was directing the building of the Mishkan, of the tabernacle, as he was directing the building of every part of the Mishkan, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he said on everything, this is from the Creator, this is from the Creator, this is the way the Creator wants it to be, this is the way the Creator wants it to be. Once it was done, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Creator said, Kol HaKavod hazeh, asali Moshe, v'ani bebefnim, v'hu mibachutz, how can I be inside now, and Moses is outside? Call him, call Moshe to come and be in the most internal chambers, meaning let him come connect completely to the light of the Creator. Therefore, this week's portion begins with a calling to Moshe, meaning Moshe achieved obviously a certain level of connection to the Creator, and therefore the Creator says, okay, he's at the point we can completely unify with me. What is that level? What is that level? And this again is such an amazing lesson. This, again, this is one of those life-changing lessons if you understand it, and obviously more importantly, live it. So we won't have time to read through all this, and it is beautiful. But there's a concept in the Talmud which is called shlucho shel adam kmoto, which means that a person's messenger has the same powers as him. We know, for instance, that if you want to marry somebody, according to the halakha, for it to spiritually bind you, you have to physically go to a woman and say, Harei at mekudeshet li, there's certain words, a certain connection that has to be made. If I choose a messenger, if I say to somebody, do me a favor, I want you to go to this woman and be my shaliach, my messenger, to marry her for me, it binds. It becomes those souls become connected, because once I imbue a messenger with a task, he can do everything I can do. Use a simple example. Take somebody who has no money, and some billionaire says to him, look, I'm making you my emissary. Go to this person and buy this $1 billion business. If he has the right credentials, he can now go and buy a $1 billion business. He doesn't have a penny. But because he's the emissary, he's the messenger of the billionaire, he can of course buy it, and right, if you have a lawyer or somebody with a power of attorney, it's binding. The same is true with the Creator. If we become messengers of the Creator, we can do everything the Creator can do. We can do everything the Creator can do. When it says in the Midrash that as Moshe is building the Mishkan, he wrote on everything, Kasher tziva Hashem et Moshe, it means that his entire essence, the entire being of Moshe was, I am nothing but a messenger of the light of the Creator. And because of that, he merited obviously the ultimate connection. But what's important is the fact that he was able to do everything the Creator can do. Think about that for a moment. We, every single one of us, can come to a point where we can do everything the Creator can do. We can heal people, we can resurrect the dead, we can give any blessing. If and when we come to this level of being a shaliach, a messenger of the light of the Creator. The Zohar in Behar, and the reason I'm reading this is because we know that when we read these sections from the Zohar, it not only gives us the understanding, but it gives us the light. This awakens the light. The Zohar in Behar says, Ela daraza. The Zohar is talking. It says, it's not very often the Zohar says, I'm going to reveal a great secret. The Zohar says, talking about a concept which has to be understood, but it's called Ol Malchut Shamayim. What does it mean to accept, like the yoke of the light? Like an ox. If you want him to plow a field, you have to first put the yoke on him and connect it to the ox, and then as he walks through the field, he'll be able to plow the field. In order to take out from him something good to this world, right? If you just take an ox and then walk around a field, he won't do any good. You have to first take the yoke, attach it to the ox, and then as he walks through the field, he's actually doing something constructive. If he does not accept this yoke, nothing happens with the ox. He can walk through the field, nothing's going to happen. Clearly the field will not be plowed. Hachinami so too itzrech levarnash lekabla alei ol bekadmita. One who has to accept this yoke, this being a complete messenger of the light of the Creator first. Ulevatar diyiflach bei bechol mad itzrech. Then you can do everything. V'lo kabel alei hai bekadmita. If you do not accept this initially, lo yechol lemiflach. You can do nothing. The Zohar is saying something very clear here. To the degree that we see ourselves as only messengers of the light of the Creator, we can do everything. To the degree that we do not see ourselves as purely messengers of the light of the Creator, we can do nothing. The Shem Shmuel says, to clarify, because one of these concepts I think that I'm worried, people hear this, this is pretty easy, so that means that today, as I go to talk to somebody or try to help somebody, I'll just say, I'm a messenger for the light of the Creator, and then I'll be able to do everything. It doesn't work like that. Because being a messenger influences everything about your life. What you do, what you think about. He says, because this is becoming, and this is the beauty of it, this is when you become like an angel. This is when you become to the level of an angel. And every single one of us, and the beauty of it again, use the example of the poor man who's receives the power of attorney from the billionaire. He has not a penny to his name, but he can buy $1 billion business because he has the power of attorney from the wealthy man. We can be the filthiest, lowest spiritual being, but if we truly achieve this level of being a messenger for the Creator, we can do everything. We can do everything. And this is the level for us to achieve the level of being an angel. And again, without going into details, there's another midrash in this week's portion that talks about Malachav Giborei Koach, the angels of the Creator who have strength. And this is a call to every single one of us to become an angel of the Creator who has strength. Shezeh ha'inyan lirot et atzmo shaliach batel lameshalech. Again, and this is connected to the previous lesson that we spoke about. As long as I have my thoughts and my anger and my disappointment and my sadness about what's happening in my life, I'm not batel. I am not a messenger completely to the light, to the Creator. I am myself who sometimes gets angry because I don't understand why things are happening. I'm not a shaliach anymore. I'm not a messenger of the light of the Creator. This has to really infuse all of our life. But once you achieve that level, to see myself as only a messenger for the Creator, he says, it's not an easy thing to do. And unfortunately, not every person can merit this level. To have this clarity, open eyes. And the Kabbalist called this level nikra mochin de gadlut. When in the writings that I read, when they talk about the level of what's called mochin de gadlut, which means the highest level of consciousness, this is the highest level of consciousness. When I diminish myself completely and see myself as a complete and total messenger only of the light of the Creator, and then again, when I achieve this mochin de gadlut, when I achieve this highest level of consciousness, then I have the ability, the power to be a malachav giborei koach, to be the angel of the Creator with strength to do everything that the Creator can do. In this Shabbat, in Vayikra, Moshe achieves this level. That's where the Midrash, in speaking about Moshe on this Shabbat, quotes this verse. Malachav giborei koach. Angels of the Creator who have great strength. One of the great gifts of the Shabbat is that we can begin attaining this level. Think about this, because again, this is the most exciting thing, because it means we can be nothing, we can be nobodies spiritually, but if we achieve this level of shaliach, we can do everything the Creator can do. Everything the Creator can do. There's in the end of Pekudei, and we're not going to get to it. In the end of Pekudei, there is a beautiful, beautiful teaching in the Noam Elimelech by the Melech of Lezhensk. Maybe next limud we'll read it. But the idea where he speaks about that one of the great openings that Moshe did is make it so that you don't have to be so righteous to be able to bring blessings and miracles into this world for other people. And this Shabbat, it opens even wider. Shlucho shel adam konoto. We can become, and we have to, those of us who truly desire to change this world, to become angels, to become messengers of the light of the Creator. And we, you, I, every single one of us can do everything. And this is again, I think, at least as far as we've studied today, the greatest gift of the Shabbat. But if you think, you have to think about this, because this changes. Again, if you don't live the first limud, the previous limud that we spoke about, in making our, in diminishing our thoughts, our logic, you can't achieve this one. But to have the understanding of what this means once I grow towards this level, it had nothing to do with my spiritual level. It just has to do with how pure of a messenger I am. And when I achieve that level, I can bring everything into this world. Again, this is, I think, the most exciting gift and revelation of the Shabbat. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should all have the merit to understand this and desire this. Desire this and work towards this, and then achieve this level of Malachav Giborei Koch. To be the Creator's angels, to have the strength to do and bring anything into this world. Shabbat Shalom.